Greetings, kindred. I apologise for being late with this month's full moon podcast. It's been a nice few days here in the UK, so I've just been lapping up the sun, absorbing all that vitamin D. I have all through the winter actually been taking vitamin D and zinc and magnesium and B complex. I've been doing all the vitamins, and it's very important that we look after ourselves. And at this time of year, while the weather's good here in the northern hemisphere, it's like natural vitamins in your system. When you get out in the sun, when you get out in nature, it gives you a feeling of well-being, and that's really relevant to this full moon podcast. So we'll start with the time zones. So the full moon will reach its peak at 1 degree in Capricorn on the 24th of the 7th at 3:36 in the GMT time zone, on the 24th of the 7th at 12:36 in the AEDT time zone, and the full moon will reach its peak on the 23rd of July at 10:36 in the EDT time zone. So our full moon will be at 1 degree Capricorn. Now 1 is all about the self. And when I look at Saturn will be at 11 degrees in retrograde, and Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, and of course he is in his own sign. So again, this is about self-reflection, self-mastery. And with the sun at 3 degrees in Cancer, wow, that's coming into wisdom, spiritual wisdom, getting a grip on what we need to do to prepare ourselves for our future. The moon in Capricorn needs a structured life. It's their sense of security. But they can be pretty cold when it comes to compassion for other people, or come across as a little bit cold when it comes to compassion. And with the sun in Cancer right now, in opposition, it shows like there's a vulnerability. So maybe we're coming across as a bit cold, a bit isolated, because within us we're feeling a bit vulnerable. And I think with all the news that has come out lately, especially here in the UK, I know there's stuff going on in the US, and obviously, in other areas as well. There's been a lot going on. It's been a lot for us to swallow and get our heads around, and to actually see the reality of what's going on in our world globally. So, we also have Pluto, who's at 29 degrees retrograde in Sagittarius at the moment. Now, the last time Pluto was at 29 degrees in Sagittarius in direct mode, I should say, was in February of this year. But he's going to be shifting back at the end of the month to 28 degrees. And that takes us back to February 2020. So in a way, for the rest of this month, it's like we're going backwards instead of forwards. That's how it feels. We're going back to the beginning. Like nothing's been resolved. Nothing's kind of changing. But, Pluto works with the undercurrents. So, and he's, in Sagittarius is here to expose, or Pluto in Sagittarius bursts the bubble when it comes to truth, when it comes to authenticity. So, this full moon, it's going to be kind of a bit of a weird experience in a way. It's like, I think we all got to get our heads around what we need for ourselves, what structures we need to put in place for our future. And maybe we're a little bit confused about that. I mean, we do have this like grand cross going on here in the chart. And we also have a kite. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the kite first. Now, this kite is a very, very feminine energy. I mean, this is definitely the divine feminine coming into union. So it could be that, you know, the women in the world are the ones to kind of take up the sword of truth, or, you know, take up the moving forward in an active way. You know, maybe she's the one that will come up with the ideas. And like, you know, even though I say women, it's more women that do hold this energy, although there's a lot of men out there that hold the divine energy within themselves. So, you know, I feel this is a very positive kite. You know, like the kite at the new moon was just bouncing around. It was very spiritual. But it was like, you know, the thing with the kite is we have to go where the wind blows. So there's this feeling of unsettlement at the moment. And, you know, this kite, the actual grand trine is made up of Ceres, the goddess Ceres, Pluto, the moon, the goddess Vesta, who's now at 8 degrees in Virgo, and she's in trine to Ceres. Now the North Node does make a trine as well, with the goddess Vesta, but the North Node isn't completely in this kite. So this grand trine does show us that, you know, it's all about self-nurture, following our instincts, you know, getting into that self-power. Maybe we need to take that time out. Maybe we need to shut down away from others for the moment. You know, because at the end of the day, if we're not structured in ourselves, then how can we be structured for other people? You know, but the Capricorn energy can be very selfish as well. You know, so it can be all about me and, you know, basically screw everybody else. Do you know what I mean? So that's something we need to watch out for, because we may see a lot of that circulating in the collective's energy, like people that are just out for themselves. And, you know, we can point that in a certain direction, you know, when it comes to authority, but, you know, this can also be with just people in general, you know, so, and it's really a defense mechanism, because it's always like goalposts are moving, and, you know, we've had several shocks to the system, you know, even those of us that are aware of what's going on in the world, you know, where we're tapped into it and have been for a long time and have even been expecting this for many, many years. You know, every movement forward is still a shock, even to us that are in our power, that are in our common sense, that are in our sense of security. It's like, wow. Because the energies are showing, I mean, the Sagittarian energy is very blatant, very blunt. And we're seeing that. You know, but it's hard to believe for some, because we're so used to, you know, things being handed over in a more kind of like, what's the word I want to use? In a more kind of like gentle way is the only way I can put it. You know, where we're being made to feel it's all about our protection. But now it's just blatant. This is what it is. Like it or lump it. So we are seeing that at the moment. And then the sextiles on top of the kite, actually, it's to do with Neptune. So with Neptune, Neptune is a dual energy. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. Now Neptune is actually in sextile to Pluto, and that aspect is a long-lasting aspect, and this is all about human rights and social welfare, but it's also about giving us the opportunity or the wisdom to move off grid, if you like. And I've heard a lot of people talking about moving off grid, but you know, that's not possible for everybody. You know, some of us have responsibilities. Some of us that do live in the cities have responsibilities, and like there's nowhere to go. You know, there's like it's like a kind of stuck energy. But I just want everyone to kind of know within their hearts that they will be where they're meant to be. We will all move and be where we're meant to be. But we really do need to be in our instinct, you know, follow our own guidance. So, you know, judgment comes in all different categories, in all different scenarios, you know. There's just so many different ways of living in this world, you know, and it really does depend on the environment we are in and making the best of that environment. So when it comes to the cities, you know, we can't all just run out of town and go and camp in a field, you know, even that's illegal now anyway. So we can't do that. But what we can do is come together as communities and prepare. You know, so I don't know how that's going to come about, but, you know, maybe we're not quite there yet. You know, maybe we're still in that place of analysation and hoping that things will change, and there is a possibility things will. But it's going to take some time. And do we have the time? I think these are the questions that we need to ask ourselves. You know, because we do have Jupiter in quincunx to our Sun. And this can be like, you know, not really being in reality. You know, we have these big ideals, but they're not really practical for the world we're living in or for the environment we're living in. So this prevents us from moving forward. You know, so yeah, I think we need to get to grips with reality, especially with Neptune in Pisces at the moment, because Neptune in Pisces is a very spiritual energy. You know, in sextile to Pluto, you know, the rebuilding of social structures, fighting for human rights. But we need to be real about what our expectations are. And also on the other side of the top of the kite, Neptune is in sextile to the goddess Ceres. So this is like all about healing. You know, deep, deep healing. But it's also about being over empathic or in a place of like, you know, self-pity. You know, we have to watch out for that. And it's not that people don't deserve to be in self-pity at the moment, because there is a big chunk of humanity that is suffering right now. A major chunk. And it's all to do with creativity. It's all to do with joy. So what we need to work on, what this kite is showing me, is that we have to get into our feminine spiritual energy. We mustn't be scared to reach out to others. And, you know, with the black moon Lilith in Taurus, which, you know, I've spoken about before, it's all about a fear of scarcity and a resistance to change. So the black moon Lilith is really pushing us out of our comfort zones. And because Pluto's in conjunction to the moon, I mean at the new moon, Pluto is in opposition to our moon, which was like an emotional depletion. But now he's conjunct the moon. So he's, you know, the moon's done a circuit. The moon has actually just gone over Pluto. So, you know, when the announcement was made here in the UK regarding the passports, you know, the moon was crossing over Pluto. So that was emotionally devastating. So getting back to the kite, you know, we have the goddess Vesta in opposition to Neptune. That runs right through, that's the backbone of the kite. So with the goddess Vesta in Virgo, you know, it's all about, I mean, goddess Vesta is all about our inner temple, our passion, you know, our dedication. So in opposition to Neptune, it can be that maybe we're being a little bit too over-analytical, you know, or maybe we are putting in a lot of hard work, but we have to make sure that this work is viable, that we can bring the ideas or the visions into reality, that it is practical. And I do feel this opposition gives us an opportunity to do that. So we have a beautiful kite here going on. You know, it's not ever easy stepping out of our comfort zones. And, you know, kites do represent highs and lows. Pluto conjunct the moon represents highs and lows, extreme emotions, extreme highs and lows. So Pluto also, and the moon in opposition to our sun in Cancer, it can overshadow our ability to use our wisdom or to act wise. So, you know, we need to be really working on our health. So while the weather's good here in the Northern Hemisphere, we really got to get out into nature. We've got to get out into the sun. We've got to make the most of the next month or two to really build our strength physically, mentally, emotionally and spiritually. And this moon is giving us an opportunity to do that. It's giving us an opportunity to step back in ourselves, and we may come across as selfish to other people. But if it's needed, it's needed, and we have to do it. So Pluto is also in quincunx to Mars, and this just adds to the intensity. You know, it's a bit like walking on broken eggshells when it comes to other people. Like I said, sometimes we need to retreat because some of us are really psychic to the environmental energy. And I think we all are. Some of us realise it, some of us don't. So, you know, maybe we're all walking on broken eggshells with each other at the moment because we have different opinions. You know, so we have different opinions, we have different ways of doing things, but we need to really look at each other as brothers and sisters and free choice. Free choice is an individual right, and we have to respect each other. respect each other's opinions, and that's not always easy to do. So that's another reason why we may need to step out for a while to gather our strength and our resources. So yeah, there is this kind of like intensity, you know, very fragile. It's a very fragile energy at the moment. So, you know, the last time Pluto was at 28 degrees, like I said, was in February 2020. So Pluto will shift back to 28 degrees on the 31st of July. Now again, we've got a kite here. And it looks pretty good, the kite, in a way. So I think the end of this month, you know, even though Pluto's taken us back to February 2020, we was all much more relaxed then, even though there was this, you know, this situation we're going through now globally was only just really coming out into the media at the time. And even though we were all kind of alerted to it, it wasn't such a big thing because we was being told not to worry, you know, not to worry. It wasn't going to be a big drama. You know, we could get through this. It was just another situation that we would like basically build up a herd immunity. We would all be free. It definitely didn't affect certain sectors of people. So that was the month before it all changed. So we're kind of going back to that. Pluto's taken us back to that time. Now, Pluto on the 31st of July, let me see, because I haven't even really looked at this chart. Pluto will actually be in trine to the goddess Ceres and the Black Moon Lilith. So the Black Moon Lilith is actually casting this shadow over our self-nurture. You know, she's at 7 degrees and the goddess Ceres is at 6 degrees and the North Node is at 15 degrees. Now the Black Moon conjunct the North Node normally means like, you know, there's a block on our path where things take longer to come into formation. But fortunately, the Black Moon Lilith isn't too close to the North Node. But she is on top of Ceres. There is only 1 degree between Ceres and the Black Moon Lilith. So again, I feel health is going to be an issue for some, especially here in the UK, because it's in the 6th house of health and service. So I do feel this is more to do with the system, like the NHS system, the medical industry, more so than people in general, because with the North Node close by, it's showing me that it's a societal thing. And it could be something that's thrown out there, like information. But I get a feeling here that there's going to be changes in that industry. So watch out for that at the end of July. I mean, changes have been going on there anyway. You know, but also on the 31st of July, we have this yod formation in the UK with the midheaven. But I just feel here in England this is relevant because, you know, this yod is pointing towards the 6th house of health. And it is pointing towards our moon, who will be coming into conjunction with Uranus in Aries. So the midheaven is in sextile to the goddess Juno, who's in Ophiuchus, but she's at 0 degrees. So this shows me that there could be a new birth of something publicly to do with our traditional values, our commitments. But in quincunx aspect, in this like finger of fate towards the moon, who's going to be at 11 degrees in Aries, and Uranus is going to be at 15 degrees, there's this sudden shift emotionally. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but I do know that yods are very triggering energies. So with this, whatever's going on with the medical, or it could even be food, because the goddess Ceres does represent food as well. And, you know, like I said, the black moon in Taurus does create a fear of scarcity. So maybe we're seeing things on the news about food shortages, where there haven't been staff and etc. And as I'm saying that, I'm getting ringing in my ears. So yeah, I'm seeing that as kind of like a warning. So just prepare for that, don't go overboard. And, with the full moon and being all about the self, we must consider other people too. Because we are not kind of lone rangers. We cannot survive in this world while others are struggling. It will always come back to us. It's not going to work. It can only work if we're in it together. And that's all I can really say about that right now. Without triggering people or putting people in a place of anxiety. That's not my intention here. My intention here is for everybody to come into that realization that we can only do this together. We have to have a love for humanity. We have to have a love for our Mother Earth. So, this is all a test of our true spiritual energy, a true spiritual power. Because humanity is like dominoes, what affects one affects the other. And I think we need to realise that. So, Pluto shifting back to 28 degrees on the 31st of July will be a big jolt. And, my advice right now is to work on your breathing, deep breathing, get out in open spaces or nature. When the sun shines, get out there and soak up the vitamin D. Because one summer can store so much vitamin D for a whole winter. And, you can top up if you want to. But, getting your skin, as much of your skin in the sun. And, obviously we have to be respectful to others. Do you know what I mean? But we need to get as much vitamin D in us as possible. I would definitely say, stock up on vitamins for the winter, especially zinc and vitamin D, B complex, vitamin C, and exercise. We all need to feel like we're physically strong, because when our energy is drained, the way it has been with the energies coming in, exercise is important. It helps us to feel good, and it builds up stamina. So, many of us are going to be feeling depleted, just like we did at the new moon. We're going to feel a bit depleted this full moon, and maybe even again at the end of July. But there's still this beautiful energy. I still feel hope. I still feel like, there is a light at the end of the tunnel with all this. But it's just getting through this dark time. These are dark days that we're in. And we just need to get through this time. And we can get together in unity, with compassion. And I think I said it before, actually, over a year ago, it's all very well being empathic. But being empathic, we give too much of our energy away. But being compassionate, being willing to listen, being willing to understand somebody else's point of view. you know, as long as we're understanding each other's choices, as long as we're willing to step out of our comfort zones. And when it comes to facing reality, you know, that is happening in bouts. But every step so far has been a shake-up of the reality that's being showered upon us right now. So just before I close, I just want to talk a little bit about the caduceus. You know, I had a friend of mine approach me about a month ago saying, Kim, do you think you should really use the caduceus symbol? Because, like, you know, it's, I know it's considered a hermetic symbol, or what was his name? Well, anyway, it represents someone, it's a hermetic symbol that represents someone who was a liar and a cheat, you know, or a thief. But, you know, this is what I'm saying about history. You know, just like a certain person in the Second World War took the swastika symbol, which actually is a very beautiful symbol, the swastika. The original swastika is a very beautiful symbol of well-being and peace. But what people do is they take symbols and they use them in the negative energy. Because like I said, symbols, like the angelic realms, you know, when we work with the angelic realms, it's all energy. And energy doesn't know right from wrong, good for bad. It's just energy. It's how we use that energy that makes it, you know, for good or for bad. It's how we use it and the intention we are using it with. So, you know, once again, I feel that symbol, the caduceus, is, you know, it's been demonized alongside many of our ancestors and stuff like that. So, to me, the caduceus represents the serpent and the eagle coming together in unity, in balance, because one cannot live without the other right now. We're too far down the road for us to live separately. You know, to me, the serpents represent our genetics. It's the evolution of the genetics. It represents the Kundalini, the twin flame energy. This is the energy the caduceus holds. Our genetics evolve through our environmental conditioning, the foods we eat, the thoughts we think, the feelings we feel. So, you know, our genetics got switched back on many thousands upon thousands of years ago, after being turned off for so long. But they're on and they're evolving, and that's why, you know, we don't have wisdom teeth anymore. That's why we don't need our appendixes anymore, because our bodies are always evolving genetically. That's how we build up an immune system. That's why I use the caduceus in my astrology work, because to me that is the true healing symbol. The rod and the staff, that is the stick of Moses, or the rod of Moses, passed down to him from his father, Osiris. You know, so Anubis to me was Moses. I've made that connection. And Osiris was the holder of the caduceus. So, you know, both those symbols are very relevant. And they both represent healing. And also the caduceus, you know, Mercury is the symbol of caduceus, and Mercury is the bridge between heaven and earth, the connection between heaven and earth. So, yeah, I hope I've made sense with that, because I just feel like I'm rambling on. But yeah, so I'm going to leave it there, people. I mean, the next new moon is going to be right on the 8-8 portal. That's going to be kind of exciting. I mean, the Lionsgate portal is always intense for me. You know, I have a lot of planets in Leo in my 11th house of public status and career. So, yeah, it's always a heavy energy for me. But I'm hoping to do a live for that, actually. I did ask Howard if he would like to come and join me for the live for that. And I'm going to get onto him, actually, and see if he's up for it. I know there's a lot going on where he's at the moment, so we'll see. But anyway, as always, sending you peace and much, much love.